What's up, guys? This is Willie with Velox. Today we're going to walk through a 4th gen 4Runner install, and we're going to post some photos and some other snippets in between of the tools we're using. But the first step right now is trim removal, and this is what we're going to be using. We're using a Phillips head screwdriver, a 10mm socket, and a little trim tool to remove some of the little things here and there. So the first thing I like to do is, the first thing you need to do is access the trim. So you remove this trunk gasket by just peeling it back, just enough to where you can access the trim. And pro tip, there's always a grease that's inside this thing, and once it gets on you, it's hard to get off. So just be very careful and aware of that whenever you're handling it. So once you're inside the trunk, the main thing you're going to be doing is accessing this top trim. You want to remove this whole top piece. So one thing I like to do also is moving the seat forward so you can have more room. I'll get to the driver's side back door in a second. But first, let's remove some of these bolts. The first one's going to be this Phillips head that's back in here. So just remove this little Phillips. Okay. Next one's a 10mm over here. Just remove that guy. So next you got to remove this guy, and all you do is simply pull on this tab. Well, theoretically it should just pop out like that, and then it releases that like that, and that's how you remove those clips. So then you can start removing these pieces from the bottom and the top part, and then the top should come straight off. Like that. And that exposes your window. And once you have that screw off from this trim piece, you can also remove this, and it exposes another 10mm bolt in here. You're going to take off, and that should allow you to start prying this apart. The same thing with the back driver's side door. I just kind of pull off this rubber trim. This side does not have the grease like the trunk does, but all I'm doing is allowing myself to get to this trim. Once the seat's forward too, it allows you to get back in here, and with your little trim tool you can pop this guy off, and it exposes another 10mm socket. And just remove that guy. So once you have all that off, you should be able to start prying apart all your trims. So what we use is this WRT string tool. What it does is that we use this tool, and what it does, it feeds the line from the inside through the glue to the outside. And once it's on the outside, then we use this pick to grab a hold of it, and that's how we pull the string out. And then we use this thing. Comes with its own head, and what it does, it feeds the lines on one side or the other, so as you tighten it, it will cut through the glue. So the first step in our glass removal process is to protect the paint. So we use just a rubberized exterior paint tape that we just tuck back in behind the glass. So whenever we feed the glass or the string line through here, it doesn't scratch paint. Try to tuck it way back in there as far as possible. And give it several layers of protection. And then what I like to do this gives me a target to where I know my tape is, so when I feed it from the inside out, I know where I'm aiming. Now, like most 4Runners, they come with embedded radio antennas, and we'll provide you with replacement wires. On this side, it's just a male clip that you're going to be pulling out, and we'll send you a replacement wire that just takes the place of the embedded wire. And down here it'll be a butt-end connector, so you just snip this off and note where that is. Then you'll put a butt-end connector on this, and then with the kits that we send you, you'll just tuck them back in behind your trim. And then next you'll just remove your glass, and what we'll do, we have a special tool, string tool, that removes this. There's also kits available like at Harbor Freight that you can use to remove glass, or you can hire a local guy, a body shop or some kind of glass person to come, and they'll do a glass removal for you at a reasonable price. So the next step will be glass removal. So now we're just going to feed this line up through the glue line. Okay, so what I did now, see this? Let's see if you can see this. So now from the inside out, we feed the line, then we use this pick. And what the pick does, it grabs the line and it'll pull it through. All right, now that I got the string, I'm gonna reach in and pull the handle out. And that's how you get string through. Now, put the suction cup on there. Well, that cut through there way too easy. So then you lock one side, then you can cut the other side. did get crisscrossed. And all I do is keep positioning the string to where it makes pulls and cuts along the way. And with this little horseshoe looking tool, it locks one side, so you can just pull one side at a time. Cuts right through it. So now that the majority of the glass is cut out, since I only have one set of hands, I'll just tape the glass to the body so that whenever the glass is completely cut off, it won't just fall off. This way it preserves his glass, so if he ever did want to reinstall it, he can reinstall it. I'm just going to finish cutting this last stretch of the glue. That's it. Alright, now that the glass is cut out, it just simply comes right off. Simple as that. So the next step is to get the old glue off, or as much of it off as possible. It doesn't have to completely be removed, but you just want it as flush to the body as possible, so when you bolt the new Gullwing on here, it'll be as flush as possible. So what I use, which is funny, it's an old hoof tool, so that it has a like an edge, a guard, and then I just kind of slice through the old glue without damaging the paint. So once you have as much gasket down as possible, as flush, I just use some rubbing alcohol, denatured alcohol, just to kind of clean up the surface. I would not go with anything more than denatured, like acetone. It might be very aggressive. It might actually remove your paint. So just a little bit of rubbing alcohol. All right, so your next step is once you have your surface prepped, what you're going to do is you're basically just going to like line up your Gullwing. So here either you can use a buddy, or if you have an extra set of hands, or in my case I'm going to use some spring clamps just to kind of put it into place. So the goal here is, like, up here is going to be a factory hole. So you want to make sure that hole is lined up. Most of these other ones you're going to be drilling out. So we're going to have 2 factory holes that we use here, and the rust we're going to be drilling out. So I'm going to use just a little marker, just a mark on the paint where we're going to be drilling. And of course, this is after you make sure you're happy with all your gaps and everything's nice and centered and perfect, and you're completely content with the positioning of it. Once you are 100% content with it, then you mark it, and then we're going to drill it. So what I like to do, even while it's still on here, I use a automatic punch. That's what these are called. And what these do, they give it a little indentation for your drill bit. You remove this, place it to the side. You'll have all your drill locations ready to go. So now, with a 5/32 hex head and 11mm, I use a ratchet wrench. So sometimes you need a ratchet wrench in there. We're just going to bolt on the Gullwing. So once you're ready, your Gullwing will come with a double-sided tape. You peel the adhesive off, and then it should just stick right on to where you originally had it. It's lined up.
Go ahead.
So all I'm doing now is just temporarily attaching the piston so I can hold it open so it doesn't fall on my head like it did a second ago. Once it trims back in, we'll come back in and tighten it all back up. But for now, we're just hand tightening it. So we've gone through all these, and this is the last one we haven't tightened yet. For a reason, if you come around on this side, in order to get to that screw, you're going to have to stick your hand up underneath here, and that's where you'll feel the backside of this screw, and that's where you'll have to attach the bolts. It's way up under here. This little corner. That looks good.
Open it again.
Alright, now that we have everything together, one of the last things we'll do is tighten that up. But first, let's get the trim back in position. So you always got to tuck it in from the bottom first. Make sure everything's lining up nice and good. Make sure all your clips are lining up right where they're supposed to be before you start hammering them in like that. Give me that drill. This one. Alright. So next, put all those 10 mils back in that we took out earlier. There's that one. And there's this piece. Oh, goes down here. And then push it on there. There. It's back on. Something with the door. So now with the 12 and a 14, I'm going to go back in here. This is the last thing I wanted to do is a 12 with a 14. Back up. Get the piston nice and tight.